What's up YouTube? I'm back with another video. Welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe to this video as ever. I need your support to keep this movement going. So today I picked up an interview from Shawn Porter talking about Top Rank and Terence Crawford ducking him in a very articulate way and very brought about way, where you hear him talking about how certain names being called out. But have a listen and check it out.
Been loyal to no one but Top Rank and Bob Arum. You are Top Rank, and I felt very displeased by what I had read from Bob Arum. So when I talk about Shawn Porter not being a part of the company line, Bob Arum isn't wanting to cash out with Terence Crawford. However, he is wanting to make more money with Terence Crawford. It's no secret. We all want to make money in the sport of boxing. Yeah. He does not think that he can make that money with Shawn Porter. He knows that he can make it with Errol Spence Jr., and he knows that he can make it with Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. He does not know if he can make it with Shawn Porter. Yeah. And because Shawn Porter does not have a belt, there's a lot of risk in that fight with Shawn Porter. Yeah. I'm not mad at it, and I understand it fully. But when I say Shawn Porter is not a part of the company line, everyone's talking about Terence Crawford fighting Errol Spence Jr., fighting Manny Pacquiao, and so on and so forth. But no one's talking about him fighting me.
Simmer down, and now everyone's back to Terence versus Errol and Manny. But I think people would love to see you guys fight if that fight's still possible. I think I speak for all boxing. That'd be a great fight.
Is that fight still possible?
The fight is definitely possible. I think it's possible for both of us. When I'm talking about the company line being Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr., even Terence himself. I don't know if it's been an agreement that he's made with Bob Arum. And again, I'm not mad at him, but he's not going to say any other name but the names that he should say to make money. If you ask me if I'm going to fight Terence Crawford right now or Manny Pacquiao, I'm going to tell you Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. But my line of order is Manny Pacquiao. Then Terence Crawford. Let's close it right here.
Okay.
So there you have it. Shawn Porter questioning why he's not being mentioned with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence for the Terence Crawford fight. And it's clear that Crawford is ducking him. But I like the fact that Shawn Porter has addressed it in such professional, aka the Porter way. It just shows that this guy has a lot of professionalism. It's very articulate, and you can tell that he can see it. He can see that the name Terence Crawford is hovering over his fighting zone, and he's ready to go. I mean, belt or no belt, the best fight for Terence Crawford right now is Shawn Porter. And going back to Shawn Porter's interview, you can clearly hear him talk about the business, and you can talk about potential fight happening. And the question does get asked, why has Top Rank not posed a question to Terence Crawford for that fight? That's a world-class opponent, and it will definitely be the best opponent that he's fought, by far. If you look at Shawn Porter's resume, he has far better quality opponents. And I have no doubt in my mind that the winner of Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford would make it extremely difficult to be overlooked and would bring a lot of pressure and demand for the fight to happen. I mean, Porter's resume on paper is by far better, much quality. However, to question Shawn Porter's credentials, talking about because of a belt, because when he had the belt, shows signs of a fighter that is more stubborn than ambitious to be the best. I mean, if you look at all of PBC fighters, they've all, in the welterweight division anyway, they've all paid their dues. I mean, Errol Spence couldn't get a fight. He had to actually go to the UK to get the title fight, which he won. You look at Keith Thurman beat all the best in the welterweight division, and he got that golden ticket, that Manny Pacquiao fight. I'm not saying that Keith Thurman is, his resume is the best, but at least he fought top quality opponents. So Terence Crawford right now, I see very similar to how Floyd Money Mayweather was at the time, where he looked at his career from Pretty Boy to Money Mayweather, where he had to make changes, where he had to look at his ambitions and actually say to himself, right, okay, I'm going to be fighting the best, but I need to get rewarded for it. However, Terence Crawford doesn't seem to be wanting to fight the best. and opt for the top fighters such as Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao straight away, without building up the fight, without trying to build up the hype, to try and at least build on momentum of beating a top quality fighter in Kell Brook. I mean, Floyd Money Mayweather, he was at the point where he would fight certain fighters who necessarily wasn't really top quality opponents. You look at Maidana, who's a good example. He fought him twice. That necessarily wasn't a fight that the fans really wanted to see. But if you ask me, Terence Crawford v Shawn Porter is a way better fight and brings a lot more action. It brings a lot more entertainment. And I think Terence Crawford should look at himself as the guy to beat. And I honestly would say that Terence Crawford is the number one pound for pound guy, but he's not actually using that title for his own benefit. He's more like using it as a title. So I would certainly look at fighting Shawn Porter as a must. And I feel he could show his boxing qualities by moving, by showing his skills. And that's the only way you could actually be looked at as the number one guy. We all know, within the boxing world, we all know that Terence Crawford is the best. He has the best skills, has the best movement. But how do you compare? How do you compare if you're not competing against the best? How do you compare if you're not building yourself up? Nobody really knows Terence Crawford outside of the boxing world. But he has the skills and we know it. But the problem is we can't see it. I look back at some of his fights and I can't think of a fight that I've actually watched twice. I've watched Errol Spence fights multiple times, Shawn Porter fights multiple times, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. But Terence Crawford, I've seen it once. I see it and that's it. It's gone. And I think that's how his career is going to end up if he doesn't start challenging himself. His resume, in my view, is poor. It really even shouldn't even be considered. The fact that he unified the titles in multiple different weight classes makes him eligible for pound for pound. And to watch him, to see his skills and to study his skills makes him pound for pound, but credential-wise, he's not. I watched various different opponents in Canelo, Usyk, multiple different fighters, Spence, and I study those fights, enjoy those fights, and I get something different. I take things out of those fights. But with Terence Crawford, I don't know. I think maybe his stubbornness will take the toll, and maybe the end for him in his career if he doesn't really consider taking on top challengers. Like I said, if not the Shawn Porter fight, I can't see who he can even consider taking on, because he doesn't deserve the Spence or Pacquiao fight right now without paying his dues by taking on some of the top prospects. Shawn Porter is the gatekeeper for the elite fighters. And Shawn Porter already has a better resume than Terence Crawford. That's the best fight to make. It's the only fight to make. Now the only person we now wait on is for Terence Crawford to step up to the plate and give us 3 or 4 opponents that he wants to get. Because if he would have got the Pacquiao fight, he would have got that at Top Rank years ago. He said he's not looking for the Errol Spence fight because he's just come out of a car crash and he wants to build himself up first. He wants Errol to build himself up before he challenges him, because he wants to be seen as the best if he beats him. So that Shawn Porter fight is going to bring entertainment, and it'll put both fighters, Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford, into the pay-per-view status. Because whoever wins that fight will certainly be a pay-per-view star after that. And when you have a pay-per-view star meets another pay-per-view star, that's a mega fight right there. So Top Rank, like Shawn Porter says, He's got to start putting the pressure on Top Rank. Top Rank's got to start putting the pressure on Terence Crawford to make it happen. And I think it'll be a great one. It'll be a great fight. Great entertainment. And it will be an expedition, for sure. For sure. But that's me, guys. Catch me up for the next one. Like I say, if you can like and subscribe, comment, and there'll be more videos coming. Thank you.
We haven't had a discussion on whether or not will we fight or not, me and Shawn. So right now, you know, I'm not even thinking about that fight. I'm not worried about that fight. That fight is not even in my head right now, you know. But all those other guys, you know, they know what it is.
Went into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.